Can I now give the floor to the representative of the Russian Federation? You have the floor, Your Excellency.
Благодарю вас, господин председатель.
Mr. President, we thank the Secretary General, Mr. Gutierrez, and our other briefers for their briefings. Climate change is one of the contemporary global challenges that humanity is facing. Overcoming its impact requires a coordinated and comprehensive approach by the international community, targeted not only at reducing greenhouse gas emissions, but also at implementing effective adaptation measures. Work is going on, including at expert level, within the specialized fora of the UN system, first and foremost along the lines of the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, and is a key component of common efforts to achieve sustainable development. We welcome the decision of the United States to return to the Paris Agreement. Mr. President, the Security Council has already discussed climate change a number of times in the context of its influence on international peace and security. Our agenda includes the example of a number of countries and regions, first and foremost in Africa, where climate change and natural disasters are presented as a fundamental threat to stability and as the root cause of problems. We are also told that there are increasing risks of conflict arising, and these scenarios are projected into a global context. We agree that climate change and environmental issues can exacerbate conflict. But are they really the root cause of these conflicts? There are serious doubts about this. Firstly, the connection between the climate and conflicts can be looked at with regard to only certain countries and regions. Talking about this in general terms and in a global context has no justification, and imposing such a connection on an automatic basis would even be dangerous. In addition, by no means all conflicts are threats to international peace and security as considered by the Council. Secondly, considering the climate the root cause of security issues is a distraction from the true root causes, and this means it also leads us down the wrong path in looking to solutions to these problems. Thirdly, we cannot ignore other fundamental factors that have not a lesser but rather a greater influence on increasing risk. I'm thinking about political and socioeconomic conditions in specific countries and regions, which today are worsened by the coronavirus pandemic. The disease has significantly exacerbated inequalities between states and inside them. It's provoked an upswing in poverty and hunger, and in particular in countries that were already in conflict. The illegal unilateral limiting measures by some countries have also exacerbated these issues. And those who have done so would prefer to ignore that fact. In accenting climate issues, country donors are often diverting away from the comprehensive character of the challenges to sustainable development. Among these, in particular, include the refusal to exchange technologies and also green protectionism. Would it not be better for country donors to concentrate on complying with the financial commitments they have already entered into and to guarantee access to the best technologies to increase resilience and adaptation, and also to help implement education projects on the climate? This comprises the preventive approach on the basis of a balanced consideration of the three dimensions of the 2030 Agenda. It is true that discussing climate issues within the Security Council is seen as somehow beneficial and even politically important, but the real work on improving coordination of international activities in this area would be sensibly better done in the specialized fora, such as the UN's General Assembly, the Economic and Social Council, and the executive boards of the different funds, and as well as the Framework Convention on Climate Change. Returning to climate change in the context of international peace and security, we must recall the thesis that conflicts in themselves reduce possibilities for states to increase their resilience and to adapt to the consequences of climate change. That is because they divert already scarce resources. Recently, a particular region has been used as an illustrative example of how climate change has a direct influence on stability, and that is the Sahel. However, we mustn't forget the reasons which led to the rapid upswing of security risks here. Among these are the willful activities of a number of countries which have led to regime change in Libya, and the consequences for the environment of the NATO airstrikes, including on facilities involved in the oil industry. This is an example of how the environment is sacrificed to geopolitics. We could provide many such examples. Mr. President, the Russian Federation shares the need to provide a rapid response to climate change, but this should be done within the framework of the mechanisms where this is dealt with by professionals. It is important to concentrate on the effective implementation of the commitments met at international level within the Paris Agreement and to gradually increase their ambition. At the same time, we must also keep up global and national efforts on the broad front of fighting socioeconomic issues in the interest of achieving sustainable development, including in the context of the recovery following the pandemic. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Representative of the Russian Federation.